win at Wembley.
Black who's going to go for it. Black for the 1 point to win the grand final for Halifax, and he's done it. Ben Black strikes.
Evening one, evening all. Welcome to the Fax of Life, brand new rugby league podcast and all things Halifax Rugby League. My name's Rick Farrell and joining me in an unknown location on this beautiful winter's night in Yorkshire, Mike Haigh, Jamie Smurfy-Gray. How we doing, boys? So we're going to get into all things rugby league on this podcast. We are going to ask if you do want to get in touch. You will have that opportunity to have your say as well. We'll invite anyone who wants to come on, have a go. We're all about the voice of the fans here, so we look forward to get going and let's get into it, guys. So, boys, fixtures are out. First up, Widnes away. Are we all looking forward to getting back into some rugby league?
Definitely. I think it's the best time to play them, to be honest. First game down, they're already losing Gelling to Catalan. News out today. And as I say, it's a massive culture shock from Super League to Championship. We've got a pretty settled squad. They've lost a load of players, got some new players in. So yeah, I'm dead excited. What are you, Jamie?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I think it's first time in many years that you can actually look at places going like Widnes, and I'm actually very, 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 very confident because I know we can do it. We nearly beat him in the Super 8s. Well, I thought we weren't far off, to be fair, apart from
it's been a long time since we have won at Widnes.
Yeah,
or beat Widnes in general. So
yeah, it's important to go there. We need to go in numbers.
Yeah.
It needs to be treated like well, it is a massive game. It's a chance to put us marker down for the season and make everyone take notice. Because I've got no doubt whatsoever that they can do it.
Well, the last team to come down from Super League, Lee Centurions, had a bit of a hangover, which ultimately cost them their place in the 4 long term, and who knows what's happening. Although it looks like they're going to have a bit of resurgence under Duffy, but it happened to Fax. If you remember when we got relegated from the Super League in 2003, it took us a few seasons. In fact, that game against York at Widnes.
Tough, don't remind us.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. We've got loads of time going forward. We'll be coming up with a monthly podcast, maybe more often if we can get enough bodies in the room in front of microphones.
But no, going back to the game, I think it's a bit of an old adage, really. It's like not how you start the season, it's how you finish. But I think, especially now with the new structure, obviously we're going to come to that in just a bit, it's really, really important to actually start with a bang and actually get us continuity and momentum going into the season, really. Because, as I say, the way that we finished it last year, even though we didn't do all that great in the middle eights, I think we've set the platform really to have a real good go at next year.
Absolutely. First home game's Lee as well, so there's two clubs with contrasting situations at the minute, and a good chance for Fax to get stuck in and hit ground running in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good look at fixtures yesterday, and I could quite easily see us going toe-to-toe with Toronto. I can't remember what dates on as the top two, because I look at all the fixtures and they're not just winnable. You kind of feel that you know we're going to win now. When past, you've always had a little bit, we're going here, we're going there, but it's a different animal out there altogether now. It's just a totally different feeling about the players.
It's a different competition as well with the two new clubs coming in.
For me, I'm glad the Super 8s has gone. It's but like I said, we'll come on to that in a bit anyway. But it's just we know we're playing, we know what we've got to go for, and it's all about hitting the ground running. Like, I mean, you hear every season, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But we know we can finish well. Let's get a good start, and who knows what could happen. Yeah,
it's round 8 that we'll meet Toronto at the Shea 24th.
Well, I'll put it out there now. Top 2 clash, Toronto at Shea.
You heard it here first on the Fax
Big
of Life.
claim. Get pleasure bets now. But no, I think you're absolutely right. I think, especially the games that we had against Toronto last year, we were close. We were really, really close to the game at home.
But for a bit of QLT magic.
Exactly, yeah. As I say, we're missing that. We're missing Big Dan Fleming as well for some of the games as well. They've got a much changed squad as well. They've got players like Wilkin, fantastic player on his day, but he's... Do you know the physicality of the Championship? He'll be a marked man.
The whole of Toronto will be a marked man. It's the second season in the Championship. Everyone expected him to do big things last year. They've got to go one further this year, haven't they? So all the pressure's on them, and
for sure.
The two games we played them at home were more or less identical.
Yeah.
We battered the line and they couldn't deal with our pack. I think they were shocked. Because all of a sudden they've come to Halifax, they probably looked at team sheet and thought, I don't know who he is, And then out there, they were just a load of hungry lads out fighting for their lives. And it was just the fact that we couldn't get over the line. But yeah. I think it's, like I say, there's a different feel altogether now. And I think with the players coming in, I think we should play. There'd be a little bit of a different, especially attacking wise. We should be a lot more of a threat.
All over the park, absolutely. And another thing, notoriously, we've done well with a sort of skinny squad, getting a couple of dual regs or a couple of loan signings in at key times throughout the 8 periods in Rich's tenure at the club, and we seem to have kicked on with that. So we've actually got a bigger squad,
definitely,
than we've had in many years. Do you think?
Wow.
How do you think Rich will handle having all the extra bodies in the dressing room that he's got?
I think it creates competition. That's what we want, really. I think we were quite lucky last year that Morell and Johnston stayed fit, because if one of those had got injured, it would have created a bit of problems. Although we've got, the thing about this squad, I think we've got a lot of utility players. We've got players that can step into a lot of positions. Woodburn Hall, I think, is probably Morell's long-term successor. I think he'll make an absolutely fantastic half-back, whether it's 6 or 7. But they say the likes of one of the Davis twins coming in at hooker as well gives KM Moore something to fight for as well. And then your likes of Robinson coming in as well. Yeah,
Robinson always showed up well against us, didn't he? I think he got injured over there in the first game of the season, but he always seemed to look strong in the tackle, so that's a good signing. A couple of lads coming over, sort of younger members of the squad. Reece Chapman-Smith from Leeds, Liam Cooper signed again on loan from Saints, and then we've got the so-called big signings. We've got, well, I say so-called, who knows? Until they pull enough shirt, I'll give them all the benefit of the doubt. Ben White coming over from Oz, looking forward to seeing Ben. And then the ones that's been made possible by our friend in the room here, a certain Mr. QLT rejoined the Fax from Castleford. Jamie, do you want to give us a bit of an insight into how that all came about?
Yeah, well, obviously we, as you know, we've got the Play and Promo membership fund, which people are signing.
Round of applause to those guys as well. Yeah.
There's, I mean, some people are in at £5 a month, and some people are in at £80 a month. I think there's even a couple in at one. Well, I think there's 2 people in £100 a month they're paying.
That's
how much to believe in us. And then there's also, I mean, with the QLT deal, obviously we worked in line with the club, and it was basically, we were quite a bit, not miles short, but we were a little bit short. And I know there are a couple of Super League clubs after him, but he wanted to come to Fax. 100% he wants to come to Fax, but obviously money talks, and we weren't far off what the Super League clubs were. So I then approached 2 businessmen. Steve Craven and Lee Church from Enco and SJ Craven join us, and without even knowing who the player was, they says, "There's the money." I told him how far I was off. They said, "No problem."
And that's how much they believe in.
That's how much they just says that. They didn't even know it was. They just said, "Right, it don't matter. We trust you." I said, "Trust me, make a difference."
What businesses that you got on board, were they already Fax fans already, or have they kind of bought into kind of what you're trying to achieve, really?
Well, yeah, the Fax fans, the massive Fax fans, they've been for years, and now they can see a bit of a change in mentality. There's a lot of positivity. There's a lot of good things happening. I mean, they both paid £1,100 each to send the fans down to London last season for free. And for me, that's it. The change in mentality is for London last year. Down there, there was a point when we got a little bit behind. And normally in the past, we would have ended up getting a bit of a tanking towards the end of the game. But the players will look up, they'll see the fans behind the post thinking, hang on, there's 500-600 fans here from Halifax all the way down. And they put that, I mean, we nearly got over the line, we nearly got a draw out of it.
Yeah, had that game been 5 minutes longer, we'd have probably won.
Yeah, they were panicking. I was stood next to London bench behind post. You know me, I can't stand still, we're doing lots of pitch. And they were panicking. They were panicking like mad. But it's just one of the things. The whole things is people are seeing a change, and people are buying into it, and they're thinking, hang on a minute, something good's happening here. Because like I said to a few people, it was only 12 months ago. This time 12 months ago,
say it was.
There were 2 of us putting banners up around Halifax on our own, and now there's a lot of stuff happening. But for me, it's only just started, and I think what I hear is there's a lot of clubs out there watching what we're doing. Because you need the new generation. There were no juniors down there. I looked round. I think with the Catalans game, the Super 8s, when I says something's got to happen here. I looked round the stadium. You wouldn't even know you were at Halifax Rugby. You had nothing to show for it. And then you got for me, main thing was at juniors. Once you start making them juniors enjoy going to games.
Well, I think that's how we all got involved.
Of course,
in the game,
you're a bit from all. All players know your name. They give you a tap on the head as they're walking down. You know what I mean?
That's it.
As they're walking downstairs, yeah. I remember John Bentley once, he walked down, before he went on pitch, grabbed the burger, had a bite of it and give it back, and that's just what I know they put up better to do it
Don't
now.
give Muzzer any ideas for walking out of the next year.
It's just that's what there were no bond between, well, I saw it. All I saw was on things like fax matches and that, it were getting very negative. After a game, they'd be going slag plays, then the players would start biting back, and then it just escalate. And you don't need that. You need, and positive is the way forward. It's the only way forward in any walk of life. So I mean, obviously, not everything can be positive, but mainly you've got to be that way.
Well, a positive thing that's happened recently, we've had another fax lad. We know we like to sing our song. We've got a team full of fax lads. Ben Kavanagh signed for his hometown club. What do you make of that signing, Mike?
Fantastic. As I say, we're a team full of fat lads. This is what we want. Proven international. Been to 2 World Cups. But it turned out all right in the autumn internationals. And yeah, he's an absolutely proven player. Very much in the same ilk as Dan Fleming. Really, he will punch some holes in the pack. He'll run his blood to water, and I think it's a fantastic signing. Really,
it certainly is. Reserves has been something that's getting talked about a lot at the minute. We're looking at our squad. Are we 5 years into the reserve process of recruiting and training through? We had 5 lads feature at international level that had all had an affiliation with the club either at that level, having played there and gone through. So that's a testament to the fact that reserves can work. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir with you boys, telling you that we need reserves. Michael Carter came out and said it's a disgrace that people can spend marquee wages and not protect the future of the game. But that's a debate for another night, isn't it? Really, I suppose. Or should we get into it? What do you reckon, boys?
No, I completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it should be compulsory, to be honest. Definitely at Super League level, I think it's absolutely laughable that we're in a stage now where we've had a decent England international series where the fruits of labour of Bennett coming in and the whole culture change of bringing young players in and nurturing them and through that there is bearing fruit, and to have clubs in the top 2 levels where there is no pathway to actually get from your junior levels to your Super League clubs. We're getting loads and loads of players lost at like 18, 19. Prime example, Chester Butler. Chester Butler lost to the game, playing up at Siddle, and then within 18 months, he's played in a World Cup. If he was a year younger, he would have definitely been Young Player of the Year for Championship, and he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet there down at the Fax.
Yeah, well, one thing I picked up on in League Express this morning was Gary Everington using Luke Briscoe and Luke Briscoe only as an example of the current system. I think I named about 6 players who were from Halifax. I said I'll give you 6 examples straight away. That's from one club. It's frightening, really. It's I don't know. I think it's going to have to be pushed through eventually. They're going to have to be forced to do it because I mean, you saw last year. One thing what stood out to me last year was the Super League clubs came in like vultures at the end of the season, picking Championship players up.
Yeah,
they're running out of players. They're running out of players. It's as simple as that. And some has to happen because I mean, the signing of Luke Briscoe to Leeds, I thought were absolute shambles. Yeah. And I mean, it's dual reg is not the way forward for me. Reserves is the way forward.
I'm so glad more teams are coming away from dual reg because where was it? Brad Dwyer going to Fevham scoring 6 tries in a game was just stupid.
Well, what made it laughable last year was when we had Fevham's number. We played him at home, and they delayed the team. They didn't have an hooker, and they delayed it. And I think normally it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's out, and about 5:30 it comes saying Dwyer's in the team, and all Featherstone fans were celebrating. I thought, wow, what's going on here? They're celebrating getting a player in from Leeds for a game, and he come and he got me to look stupid, really. But it's not the way. I mean, I'm not a big fan of dual reg. I can't stand it. But you have, if you need it, maybe use it for now. But it's not the future because these. I mean, last year one of the worst things I saw was people putting Castleford team sheet on a Friday night and a Thursday night, going, "Oh, look, he's in squad," and that. You're thinking, "Oh, my, hang on a minute, this." You know what I mean?
For the lads that are getting the shirts taken as well, you know, that have been training all week with the club to then have someone come in on a weekender and take your spot, you know, and there's potential winning money and appearance money. And
there's nothing worse for me than seeing a player on a pitch with no name no number on his back, who don't train with club, he has no affiliation to club. It is basically, I mean, in my eyes, I think in a lot of fans' eyes, they're coming to get fit, to get back in the first team where they are. Yeah, that's all it is.
Definitely. I'll pick up on the point in terms of like youngsters coming through and stuff like that, and it's laughable that Etherington has said like the Briscoe's the only player there where 15 years ago they had the class of 2004, was it, or something, all those young players coming through in that, Yeah, exactly. And but you listen to all of the old players. Like I listen to Robbie Paul show on the radio on a week, and they do get like said him and Leon Price. And Leon Price especially said that A-team rugby or reserve rugby, like you're playing against men. And as I say, you're never going to get that by, like, in all your scholarships and your academy structures. Yeah, if you're under 18s and 23s, you'll play against people your own age. But playing against men, that's where you really, really step up and be counted, really. Absolutely.
If there are any players out there that do want to come on and speak their mind, feel free. The invitation's always there. We'll give the contact details out at the end. And for all you guys out there that want to get in touch, if there's anything you want discussing on here, we're not going to be putting the show out live. Too many glitches for that one, I'm afraid. Not just yet. Maybe when the technology.
Too much passionate language, which might tip over the board.
Got a bleep for that. Don't worry about it. Anyway, structure's changed.
Long before time.
You think? I was going to say we start with what the current structure was before the change. The Super 8s. Jamie, you've sort of mentioned that you're not a fan of the 8s. I think. You know, it always had everything's got its good and bad, hasn't it? If you remember some of the drab games we had that sort of filtered out to the end of the season before the 8s came in, the 8s gave us a couple of moments of absolute brilliance and a hell of a lot of dross in the league above us. But it's the most reinvigorated that our league's ever been, and which has probably led to more people like Jamie getting the fire in his belly to go out and make a difference, because well, with all the will in the world, it were a bit negative and a bit sort of samey before then. Don't you agree?
It's the lesser of two evils, really. The licensing the franchise in the closed shop was just wrong. It was just stupid. How can you attract businesses and fans to a club who are really going to play like 20 odd friendlies a season? Like I used to live over in Preston when I went over to uni, and when we won the grand final in 2010, like Preston is not like it's a football city, but people will watch sport on TV. And my friends like go, "Oh, you won grand final? Are you going to Super League?" And go, "No." It's like, why? So because we don't tick a box in a certain way. We're too close to other teams and that sort of thing. Middle eights, the qualifiers, whichever way you want to look at it, it's been by far the best result in terms of the whole the revamp for the structures. It's still heavily weighted towards Super League teams because they're playing Super League teams each week and that sort of thing. And when we've, as championship clubs, especially Halifax, who are part-time, have to raise our game for that. But it's brought jeopardy to it, and that's what sport is. Sport should be, if you're the best, you get rewarded for it. If you're the worst after 20-odd rounds, then you deserve the consequences, really. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, well, I think, to be honest, I don't like Super 8s because everything seems to be hell-bent on getting there, which is understandable with money what we're involved. But I don't like Super 8s because I don't like losing. We lost for, I think, was it 14 games on bounce we've lost?
Yeah,
we've lost. It is, well, we've lost 14 games.
We've not got a good record in it.
It's not just that. I think now you got to imagine. You look at the bigger picture. I mean, the crowds in the Super 8s were poor because most of the time, a lot of fans ain't going to go and watch your team getting tanked. I mean, we got close a few times, but you've got to think of it now. At the end of the season, if we had say a Super League club in 8, somebody like Huddersfield or Salford who are on a downward spiral, or we're going to get Bradford Bulls at semi-final to get to the final to go to Super League. There'll be 9,000-10,000 there.
Yeah, that's it.
Or Lee or Winders.
Yeah.
Or Lee or Winders, a big club in Championship who will come over or will go over to LSV and actually create an actual do-or-die atmosphere, which is what has been missing, really.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the cup's been brought in, I think that's a fantastic idea. Like you said, only a couple of games off Wembley. You've got to have something that can spark the imagination of the neutral fan. The amount of fans that we got that still follow the club today from the last time that Fax went and won at Wembley. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen for us this season. We wish the lads all the best, and I'm sure they'll make it a priority. You know, the chance to play at the National Stadium. Not everyone gets that.
This is where your big squad comes into it as well, because the games are midweek. that is where you're going to be very, very wise in terms of team selections and things like that. Where it's fascinating because you might get clubs who are hell bent in going for the top for the playoffs, and might rest players midweek, and that sort of thing. So
I mean, you've got as well the chance of a club like. I'll use for an example after some of the recent seasons that they've had, the form that they've been going through. Sheffield signed well this year, notoriously good in grand final situations. They might say, look, this year we might not be able to challenge Toronto and to lose his finances to go for the top prize, but concentrate on the cup. You might take an extra 10,000 fans to Wembley, of which 1,000 of them, 500 of them might start going to watch your team again. Yeah. And it's a tangible way of building a fan base using an experience, because as the journalists are always banging on about, you've got to make the game an experience, and
for sure.
And I think that's something you can build off the back of. I mean, there's so now the fixtures are out. There's so much planning that can be done, and I'm sure you've got some ideas, Jamie, about where we go next year. You know, I'd like to think that we can get together for the Toronto game and all watch it together. If those that aren't going to make the trip out there.
I'll be there. Sorry,
yeah, well, I'm not, I don't think I definitely can't go to Toulouse because I'll be working at weekend again. So that's twice I've missed it now. But these, I think, the bigger squad comes into play. Not just a bigger squad, but these lads have been together for a while now. Yeah. They're coming through reserves, or they all know each other. I mean, there's a couple of, obviously, I think there's 5 signings coming. So they're going to have to bed in. They all know the surroundings, or they all know. And not just that, I think you've got players now who want to play for Halifax. Yeah. They want to play for Halifax. And I told people at the meeting the other night, the Fax1 meeting, they are playing for the supporters, because the supporters are fighting. You know what I mean? We're fighting for them. There's a buzz. When they're up now, the Championship club, they're up there, there's all flags and banners in this, and the different songs, and they're the buzz of it. Absolutely.
That's it, absolutely. That's why you play sport at that level, is to become an idol, to become like you said, a superhero to kids. When I was growing up, the fact that Gavin Clinch were going to play on the Shea turf and I could go and sit and watch it, where I couldn't, you know, it was stuff dreams are made of, to see him ripping all these big name teams apart, and you know, we need to make our players more into superstars and get the person. How many interviews have you seen that are just the same old yes sir,
there's no
sir? And we are so lucky at Halifax to have players that not only are they good players, then they want to play for the club, but they've got this bond of brothers that they can all be themselves. You know, they're not worried about making a fool of themselves in front of the sponsors, because you know some sponsors, everyone at the club at the minute, there's this vibe going on, an environment, a culture.
There's no people coming up. Although back in the season, I thought we brought a couple of players in who I didn't think were up to. They came in from. I thought they were a little bit too good for the club. You could tell by a bit of arrogance, but they didn't last long. You want players in who are fighting for the shirt, and these like I say, we nicknamed. I think it was last year we named it the Band of Brothers, didn't we, for Toronto, and we did the post and that. And the players love it, man. You've got to make these players. One of our targets when we started all the supporters club was. One of them was to make the players feel like stars, because if they feel like stars, they'll play like stars.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they see every weekend, the other good thing about thingy was, in the past, about the supporters club, and we've got our own page on Facebook. Normally, you play on a Sunday, and then everything just goes to sleep for a week.
Yeah.
Now it's non-stop. The players, there's all sorts going on.
But by the same token, we've got to build them up. We've got to be superstars and heroes and that. But the thing that gets me most, that makes me most proud, is there's no egos. They're all decent guys and that. And like after Rochdale game last year, especially, where we're all in post office having a good time and stuff like that, all players were there, and I can't remember the last time that there was an event like that where players and fans, apart from like down at the Shea in like terms of like awards dinners and stuff, all the players come into a neutral venue outside the club to mix with fans and that sort of thing. And it kind of goes on from like Toulouse the other year. Like me and Rick were fortunate enough to be there that night where we won down in the south of France, and down in the melting pot where all the players came in, all the fans, and it was just one big family, like the players there. And yeah, it's kind of the things like you don't want to meet your heroes, because they might turn out not to be as good as you thought they would be. But the players who put on that shirt are my heroes, and I'm so glad that I'm able to go up to them and chat.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, any lad that can go out there and slug his guts away, grafting up and down a ladder, or driving vans, or building, skyscrapers, or whatever they do, and then go and train, and then go and do these extra hill sessions, and then turn up on a Sunday in the freezing cold, and they don't ask much, and it were nice to be able to show our appreciation to, when you do get the chance to sit and have a drink with the lads, and they're all top lads. I mean, I think that's been a characteristic of Rich's reign at the club, that he recruits decent people rather than just good rugby players.
I think it was Graham Taylor that said in football that when he's looking for new players, he looks for good people, because if he wants to instill his mantra and his philosophy on people, he don't want prima donnas or people who are going to upset the apple cart. He wants people to actually buy into the philosophy and able to make that change.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, you can tell there's a togetherness there, and I mean, I think 80% of signings have been right for club. Obviously, a couple, there's been a few go because they're just not good enough, but they've all been decent. You can tell there's a mentality there, like it's one in, all in. You see that on pitch. If anything happens on pitch, it's one in, all in.
Yeah.
But Manel says, except for me, that's what he always says. One in, all in. He's too busy refereeing it. But there's, it's good. It's good time. That's what we've just got to keep. I think rugby league in general is just like, when we're talking now, 90% of it's positive. Where in past, what I've noticed in past was, especially with Halifax, when he used to go down, and none of the players had known, none of the fans name. Fans would only be slagging players off. He's no shit, he's no good. You know what I mean? I think it's not a coincidence that all this is happening, and then the buzz is taking off.
Oh, definitely, and especially to do that without hardly any exposure as well. Like, obviously, that's another topic in terms of championship and no TV deal and stuff like that. But for to do everything like that, and I say that's what your Fax1 yourself, Jim, is so fantastic at doing, is giving them the exposure that they're walking onto fixed 10 feet tall, seeing the face on a flag with stuff. It's fantastic.
Well, I think when we did the flags last season, I kept getting a text saying he's not happy and he's not happy, but they ain't got a flag, so that I'm having to tell me himself, and he's not happy. We've got loads more planned for next season.
Yeah, we're going to say any exclusives on next season's flags.
I think we've got. I tell you what, we have got to come in.
So exciting podcast.
Like you see in Australia, the hold up flags. Where you hold up into stands. When players come out, we've got a load of them getting done. And we've also got 2 big ones, which I'm hoping to get. I don't know I'm going to get, but might have to be fax sets. When they close either side of the south stand off, one stood in either side of there, going. Yeah, either side of the south stand, where sometimes it's closed off, but hopefully it won't be for too long, because crowd will start picking up. But there's when it is closed off, I have 2 giant flags getting waved in there.
I mean, it just adds so much to the game day experience, making those lads feel part of it, and it's one of those things. It's a bit like a ritual, isn't it? You get yourself ready, everyone goes to the same pub and has the same pint, and then you stand in your spot, and we all go through it together, and just these little tidbits all over the place. They all add up. They're like 1%ers. They make going back such a joy. I mean the lasses that give the time to do the face painting and all that kind of thing.
Well, it's unbelievable. I mean, we've had other supporters get in touch with us from supporters clubs saying, how do you do what you do? And then we tell them, and they're like, you don't hear it back. You're like, because I think we're so lucky that, I mean, we're all the supporters now are chipping in. Obviously, you've got the Fax Trust, who have basically kept club going for 10 years. Yeah. In my eyes, just pumping money in season after season after season after season. And they've kept the club going. And
big believer in youth as well.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, they keep the reserves going. And they're churning out internationals. Their money's now churning out internationals.
That's it.
Where, but yeah, it's unbelievable. There's 6 or 7, maybe 8 more now, 9 people what are working non-stop for free. I mean, I'll be at work sometime, I'm on my computer, and I'll get something coming to my head, and I'll spend 10-15 minutes on it. That's all it takes. There's
a lot of unpaid volunteers at the club as well. People like Steve Greenwood and Gonzo, and that do their work with the reserves, and they are starting to see the fruits of the labours now. But it's things like that. There's nothing not to be positive about at the minute. Do you agree? There's a vibe going on, and if we can just keep it going and everyone does their part, I think we can be a part of something really special.
I'll tell you what epitomises the club for me, Mike Riley. I mean, we go down on a Sunday morning. Well, he used to be a director at one point, wasn't he? Now you probably see him walking down with his camera non-stop, flashing, and he's but
the violent photographer.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he got. I think he's on a Batley banning order. He got escorted out for celebrating at Batley. But one thing, I go down there at 9 o'clock every Sunday at home games to put the flags up, and I look round and there's 6 or 7 people in there, all putting the billboards up and helping out with the stuff, and people don't see that side. You know what I mean? And we're lucky to have so many people who care about the club, and I think the fire. There just needed to be a fire ignited there, and it's happening now. Yeah, it's happening. It is happening. Where people, I mean, without sounding disrespectful, basically, last 10 years, I think we've just been treading water. If that, season after season, just treading water.
Yeah, again, the structure don't go with that. To be honest, because I say it's
you don't know if you're coming and going. Yeah,
exactly. You've come on board where the middle eights, as flawed as they are, they give a glimmer of hope for people to go up. And Lee did go up, and OKR did go up, and that sort of thing.
But it's boom or bust mentality, wasn't
it? Of course, yeah. And as I say, people that's the reason why the ones on top were thinking, oh no, we've got to restructure this. We can't be having this. We might go down. Whereas people like us, fair enough, some people might call us sleeping giants. I don't think we're giants yet, but we are definitely a sleeping middle person in that respect there. But yeah, it's hard with the structure as it was because it's 20 glorified friendlies. But the point I'm going to make is that hopefully this momentum will carry on, and that if in the first, I don't know, 2-3 months of the season, if results don't necessarily go our way, hopefully people will still keep the faith. People will still see that there's 17 lads on that pitch, most of which are going to be from Halifax. Quite a lot of them will come through our reserves. You can see the reason why we're pumping the money into the club, and hopefully the fans will get behind that and then keep the faith, really.
Yeah, well, that's what one of the things is. I think I got a number of a week. There's about 900 registered. This is only boys, not girls. Right. 900 registered junior players in Halifax. Now, in my eyes, every one of them should be at the ground.
Absolutely. I think that's part of the initiative from the Fax community, isn't it? To give
they're another group what are doing unbelievable. I mean, they're out. And one thing I've noticed lately is all the players are now going to presentations, training.
Willingly going to.
Yeah, well, I think Will Sharp at Lingworth for the night. Bear in mind, he lives down near Castleford. He's come up on a Friday night when he should be with his family. Just to do that.
And in times gone by, it would have been like some random academy youngster who's kind of like, what am I doing here kind of thing. Whereas you've got someone who's got a flag in the stadium, who's got songs about him. They'd like, if the captain of Halifax had come to my club when I was younger, I'd have been like, oh my God, I want to go to every single game here. My heroes here. And it's so fantastic to see, like at the cup final, was it on Sunday, where there were Fairbank and Kavanagh giving out medals and stuff like that. People who are from Halifax wearing the Halifax badge.
They're an example, a prime example of what can be achieved if you stick to the plan and go through the process.
Yeah, well, I think that was work hard. I mean, sometimes people get frustrated, but we've held us on for the last 4 or 5 years, and we held us ground. We didn't look stupid. We just held us ground and chipped away and chipped away, and now we're in a perfect position to kick on, catapult forward.
Absolutely, and the structure does help that, because whereas in previous years there was no tangible cup final in the 8 system, really, was there?
No.
You're looking now that if you've got a good enough squad, you can make 2 and win 2 trophies a season.
Yeah.
Potentially 3 if you count the Yorkshire Cup as a pre-season competition. Again, we don't really know do we know what's going on with that? Has anyone heard anything?
No, it's all kind of Chinese whispers and rumours and stuff like that, really.
It's been confirmed. It's happening, I think, because Tony Lee rung the club and asked him, can I put Bradford fixture up on? They do it in the air, not a problem. But
Tony Lee, another hard worker behind the scenes for Fax1.
I mean, he jumped on board with me, and his work he does is unbelievable, non-stop round. I mean, he put 250 posters up on his own fixture list for Super 8s.
Every little bit helps.
Well, of course it does, yeah, because people. The main thing is that you have to get the name of Halifax Rugby League back out there, non-stop, relentless. Some people soon take note. I mean, the best people to look at the minute, in terms of marketing, etc., is York City Knights.
Yeah.
Because they are non-stop. They're different, use different ideas.
And injecting a bit of personality into the posts and
the modern. Like I said at this meeting, it's a new world out there. You've got to either be with the new world or in front of it, not left behind. Because if you get left behind, you're knackered. Yeah. Knackered. And to be fair, we've been left behind for the past 10 years with that as well.
Well, if you look at the way that the structure's come about, have we been left behind by Super League, and therefore we need to do more innovating than ever to make sure that we can sort of stay on par with where we've been? Because from the new TV deal, and obviously that's something that we could discuss in future episodes, there appears to be clouds on the horizon that no one's really sure how we're going to deal with it. And I think the fact that we're being proactive and going out there and trying to make a positive impact on our club, and like you say, we're out here for you, they're out there
we're
for
here
us.
for you, be out there for us. Yeah, that's me.
And they are, and they totally are. You've said it. They play for the fans. You can see it when they're scoring these tries, and they're not with the backs turned, or there's no inside jokes. Everyone is on board, and everyone can see that there's something good happening at Halifax.
Well, I think with the Sky deal, stuff like that, I mean, make no mistake about it, it's happening. They're going to end up, they'll probably be, I think it's in 2 years' time that it's up for renewal,
Yeah,
and I reckon we'll probably lose half at Championship, and we'll probably lose, all League One clubs will become amateur overnight. It's happening, because I think eventually the end goal is to end up with 2 pretty strong leagues, or maybe one league of 14.
It's helped as well because the amount of big clubs that are in the Championship as well.
Yeah.
Like as I say, there were quite a long time. Again, I'll keep rabbiting on about the old structure and that, where people couldn't move and that, and it was little Halifax and little Featherstone and little Lee and stuff like that. But when you've got teams like well, we're on the up now. We've got Toronto there as well, Widnes, Lee, the bigger clubs now, and by the work that they've done, York have got the capability of being massive, and the work that they've done. To get to where they are now is fantastic. Bradford in our league as well, big clubs who will put pressure. Because I say, if Bradford may well not go up this year, the big clubs in our division are going to put pressure on the powers that be and say, look, hang on, we want exposure for the Championship, whoever's going to be in there, but also we want a fair crack of the whip to be able to get up, and the new structure doing that, having a guaranteed team going up is fantastic.
I mean, in a way you can see the right what they're doing, because you shouldn't have to rely on Sky money to survive. No. It's as simple as that. But that's why I mean, Halifax, I think we've halved us debt in the last 3 or 4 years. But if you look at some at Super League, I mean, if for instance Ken Davey left Huddersfield, or say the Wigan chairman, they're gone overnight, absolutely gone.
That's a model with a lot of sports clubs, though. I think a lot of sports clubs are technically.
Yeah, but it's not the right way, is it?
Really.
But it's boom or bust.
Yeah, they take on a lot of debt to the sugar daddies, don't they? Well, we see a lot of problem with over at Salford when Kukash walked out. So it's one of those, really.
Yeah, you just got to keep that. I kept saying, I'll keep reiterating to people, the club now has to stand up and stand out and be different. You've got to be different. You've got to create a feel-good factor. You've got to have people talking about us, and they are talking about us non-stop. A lot of people talking about Halifax, because I mean, back in the season, I think you just after the Bash, we didn't meet, we were all over press non-stop for 2 or 3 weeks. That's what it should be like.
I mean, it's a good place to be involved in. It's a good afternoon's entertainment, and it's a great family atmosphere. I know that gets bandied around a lot in rugby league, but it is really like a family down there. So if you listen to this, you've somehow found your way, I don't know, maybe YouTube skipping through and you've ended up with us, come down, check out Halifax Rugby League at the Share. It's the place to be.
Well, I mean, one thing is as well that one thing I thought of was the first thing I targeted were we need a bit of a base to everyone to meet up, go to.
Of course.
And we got in touch with Tony from Old Post Office, who now is sponsored club actually this season as well. He's got his thing on side at shirt. It's another thing we'll come on to. And then there's. Well, you needed a hub. You need somewhere that people go. Well, I mean, it probably took till.
Yeah, it took some developing.
It took 2 or 3 months, for people to come down. Once they come down, you need to make it now. There's so much to do out there in the world where you used to go to rugby on a Sunday, and you just go every week because you didn't know what else is happening. Now, with the kids sat at home and their iPads and their iPhones, and there's just so much more to do. You have to make it appealing. Now, people come down post office. He's open at 11:30 in the morning. There's a barbecue, there's face painting, there's balloons, there's posters for the kids.
Everyone's in the same place as well, so if you want to catch up and have a word with your mates.
And it's somewhere to after where it used to be, come down, watch us, gives you 20 quid and get you sent off home after the game. Yeah. I mean, that's not to do with club like, but someone had to take the initiative to try, and it's working perfect. I mean, more and more people are coming on board. Like, I mean, I think it was the when was our meeting with the. It was for the QLT site when we signed it first time before he buggered off. The full team. I think it was Scott Morell got in touch with me. He said, just to let you know, we're all coming. I never asked him. He said, we're all coming down. I went, what do you mean all years? He went, the full squad. And I think there were 33 players came down off their own back. had the photos taken, and they would just love it. And all, you could tell more kids were mesmerised by it.
Absolutely. I mean, you won't get that anywhere.
No.
A whole squad that's willing to give the time and a little bit of TLC with your fans, and it goes a long way. I mean, it goes without saying, doesn't it? I mean, the things that the supporters clubs and the club do for those lads, and then they're able to give some back, I think they'll be appreciative of that. And it breeds a good environment and a good sort of squad personality.
Definitely. It's brilliant for away fans as well. As I said,
absolutely.
I know quite a few people who support Leeds, and that last game against Leeds was the Leeds fans were saying that it will make me come and watch Halifax. Leeds will play a lot of their games on Friday, and quite a lot of the people will say, I wouldn't mind if I've got a free Sunday, come along, because they know they're going to have a great time. Great stadium, great atmosphere, and that sort of thing.
If we're talking going from chalk to cheese, do you remember the sort of barren days of, I think Muzza called it the morgue, when sort of the back end of Rhinos period? You contrast that to the last 25 minutes of the Leeds home game in the eights. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I'm surprised anyone had any voices left for the
I didn't.
I'll tell you one thing I noticed about the fans at the minute is, I used to look round and used to think people are not a bit embarrassed, but a bit, they don't get behind the team because people stood next to them and be like, oh, what's he chatting?
Yeah.
Now it's just relentless. Absolutely relentless. It's non-stop. As soon as I said we need a war chant, and I've come with that blues, but people love it. You can hear it echoing out the stadium. I mean, I were at Lee outside having a cig in the stadium, and I could hear it, and I thought, wow, that sounds unbelievable. It was just like a lot of people. And end of the day, I mean, I know people say about, it's a family sport and that. Them players are going to war for 80 minutes every week for us. And that's what you need, that mentality. We ain't going out there to make friends. We're going out to destroy people.
It's all part of the experience as well. It's a family atmosphere and stuff. And to attract kids to go, going back to the point of all junior rugby players getting medals and that off the players and that. If kids want to go and watch the rugby, eventually the mum and dad will want to go. And if it's value for money, if it's granted, it can cost a lot.
That's a good thing about the junior season tickets being free. If you take a cost away from those parents, you're taking one more barrier down between turning up week in, week out. Because once you're there, I mean, it's unlike anything that's been going on around here in recent times. I mean, you can go and watch the round ball game over the hill. Yeah. The rugby league team over there have got a notoriously low following for Super League standards. I'm not saying that we've got thousands of fans, but the potential's there. Yeah. For us, we're in our own little bubble. We've got something good going on. Definitely. We don't need to look left and right. I mean, I was watching a documentary with Jimmy Iovine, and he said, you get everyone coming in with your outside influence. He says, they put blinkers on horse for a reason, because if you look left or you look right, you're going to miss a step and you're going to fall. You just need to get your head down and go. I mean, and that's what's been great about the social media campaigns and everything that's been done by the supporters trust. And
he's been a slow burner, really. He's one of those names, anyway. It's been a bit of a slow burner, really, in terms of people coming on side with what yourself, Jamie, and the Fax1 supporter group are doing, but also the fans together getting going. Like the bash last year, having everyone meeting up at the spoons there and walking to the ground and stuff like that. I think the days where if you just want to go and watch a game of rugby and do nothing else, go watch Siddle, go watch Illingworth, because you'll get that. You'll get a decent style of rugby there, but you'll get no else. If you want everything with it, if you want to see, like you said, Jamie, people going to war, absolute athletes, and with the atmosphere that goes with it, with the face painting for the kids, then it's never been a better time to go watch Halifax.
No, it's pretty. I mean, one thing you need. Someone said to me when it all started with all the singing and drumming, it's getting like bloody football. I said, yeah, well, you don't see football crowds going down here. But young kids want to go, they love it.
Exactly.
They love it. And it has to be turned. For me, it's turning tribal, and that's the best thing what can happen. It's turning tribal, and people now absolutely they go out there and it's like. When you're watching players on pitch, it's like your best friend's on pitch and you're supporting him. That's how it feels.
You look at. Do you remember when Leicester City did really well in the Premier League? They
snowballed.
Every week they had something in the stand. I think they had the coloured squares to make these colleges. Or didn't they buy them all a cornetto or something? They bought them a pint. They bought them all a pint and something. And it's just making those people in the stadium feel part of something that's going on. And I mean, I've said for years that when you're there in the ground, what you do can affect what happens on the field. Of
course it can, yeah.
And I'm not saying you go out there and barrage a referee or you slag off opposition players or whatever, but you getting behind your team during that 80 minutes can have a massive impact on the result.
Yeah, and stay positive. I mean, you got to just keep. I mean, sometimes you get frustrated, but you don't need reaching out to the pitch. You know what I mean? If little mistakes happening, but one of the games what stood out for me was Featherstone at home back in the season.
Yeah.
When we beat them, and we beat them convincingly. We could have beaten them by more. We were at them that's probably one of the nearest things to an 80-minute performance I've seen from us. It were relentless.
We still didn't get that 80-minute performance last year.
No, that'll come this year.
Yeah.
There's the Featherstone fans. I remember the game last year in the Super 8s. We played the last game of the season. They came, they had a great day out, enjoying themselves. They were singing non-stop. This time they came and they looked over and they thought, Jesus Christ, what's going on here?
Yeah.
They were thinking, hang on a minute, what's going on here? And one at Featherstone directors mentioned us. He says they're doing the right thing. He says because we need to rule out that he said we need to forget the flat cappers and start attracting the baseball cappers. That was the word he says. Because you need a new breed, a new era coming
Absolutely.
in. And just get, because it's people.
Rugby league does have an aging fan base as well, so it's
the thing,
so important to get the next generation of punters through the doors and get them hooked on the sport. I mean, national profile does come into that as well, you know. So
yeah, but even the old generation, they're coming into it. Like my grandparents in their 80s, and they absolutely love the atmosphere in that. They're absolutely loving it. Granted, they sit in the East Stand and they can barely see and stuff like that, but they absolutely love it with the flags and that, and they can hear us like that last game against Leeds. They can hear us all the time, and it's fantastic.
Jamie's had to shoot off, so we'll say bye to him. Thanks very much for coming, pal, and it's been great having you. Mike, is there anything else you want to get into at the minute? What's on your mind?
It's into what you're on about. Could talk a little bit about the internationals, really.
Yeah, I mean, successful series for the England boys. There's a few things to discuss, isn't there? I mean, the on-the-field product, last game aside, where I think the boys were in holiday mode, pretty successll winter. Off the field, the Hour League scandal of the streams going up and down, and what was said, and then contrast that with the fantastic video work that was put out by the England Twitter pages and social media feed. It's been a good time to be an England fan, hasn't it?
Definitely, and it's slowly but surely the momentum from the World Cup has finally got there, really, because as I say, first of all, it must be difficult to try and capture what was in the World Cup, because it's a World Cup, it was on the other side of the world, and we were playing like Tonga and Australia, that sort of thing there.
Still a good showing.
Definitely, and it's hard to kind of, especially balance with the demands of Super League, and already players are saying we're playing too many games, coaches wouldn't want players to go for mid-season tests and that sort of thing. But
it looks like we might be potentially getting a set-in-stone international structure that's set to be announced in the future.
Good, because it breeds a pathway. We were saying before, like it breeds in terms of club, the reserve structures and that sort of thing, breeds pathway to play for the first team. Everyone wants to play for the country.
Absolutely.
Everyone, when you pick up a rugby ball when you're a kid, you envision yourself being an England player, scoring at Wembley to beat the Aussies. Or something like that.
That's the dream.
And you've got to have that pathway there. And
I mean, commercially as well, knowing in advance which games are going to be on, where they're going to be, making those tickets available. I mean, you look at the NFL selling Wembley out each year. One of the main inclines into that is they know when the game's going to be. They've got a year to plan it if you want to book your hotels and everything. Good fixture release yesterday. We were able to do that for Toronto and such for this season's. Excuse me. But just having an international calendar set in stone and build on it, not just for 1 year, not for 2 years, not for 5. Going forward, we're at a schism in rugby league. Rob Elston's been brought in to bring radical changes to the game. Everything needs looking at, I think, and everyone's got their opinions, and we've got ours, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we go. It's a positive time with all this negativity banding around. It's still a positive time to be involved in rugby league.
Of course it is, and I think the term Club England gets banded around. I think we should look at the England team as well as the other nations. As I said, kind of sidetracking a little bit. The European Championship with the home nations they were fantastic, and whenever they get together, they treat it as kind of like a club. It's a little club international, but I think this Club England needs to be established. And I think what Wayne Bennett's done, I think McNamara started a bit of the work when he came in, but Wayne Bennett's really flourished under it.
Wayne said as well, didn't he? He don't think that the English public realises how good a sports team we actually have.
No, they don't. It's the English mantra, really. It's always gallant losing and stuff like that. It's in built in us, really. And for us to have a successful rugby league team is kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? We came one score away from beating the Aussies.
And you look at the shot in the arm that it gave the 15-man game. It could do something similar for our game in this country.
It needs that smoking gun. And if Australia keep playing silly buggers about, whether to be international, whatever, hold something without them, we need something that will build the international game as a whole. The Tonga Australia game that was this year was one of the best things I've seen in a long time.
I mean, the spectacles are there as well. I mean, it's not just about the 80 minutes on the field. It's a cultural.
And
happening.
Definitely. And you got like Papua New Guinea as well. Papua New Guinea played the England Knights. That was a really good thing what the England Knights did. They're built into it. Again, it's Club England. The players came from other clubs, and there didn't seem to be any cliques at all. Whereas time goes by,
definitely grown into a unit.
The time's gone by. You hear accounts of all players and stuff like that. And there was a Leeds table and a Saints table and the rest kind of thing, because tribal nature, you batter each other for 8 months in the year, and especially at Leeds and Saints, the meeting grand finals and cup finals and that sort of thing. It's getting them together to play for England or Great Britain, whichever it's going to be. And it's managing that, and I think we've done really well in that respect there.
I've got Jamie ringing me now, probably saying that he can't get out of the gate, so I better sort that out. Which of the signings or which of the players that we've brought in are you most looking forward to seeing in a Fax shirt? Because we've got some strength in depth now. Who are you looking forward to seeing perform?
First of all, QLT. QLT's, I think, a masterstroke of a signing. If we'd have only been able to keep all of him, God knows where we could have gone, really. Not taking anything away from the likes of Will Sharp and Kieran Moss and Bernal, who played at fullback in the year, but he just gives us that different mentality. He's a fullback naturally, whereas Will Sharp is kind of in between. Woodbourne all again, jack of all trades, master of none, needs to nail down a position, and QLT dovetails so well with the likes of Morell and Johnston, and that try at Blackpool to beat Fev.
It came from nowhere, didn't it? I mean, his past selection's always spot on, and to see him have a full pre-season under his belt with Fax and learn the structures from the start. It's about time, because we're notorious slow starters. I think everyone would agree with that. It's about time that we hit the ground running and build some form. But what I don't want us to get is overconfident.
No, I don't think we will. I don't think Marshall's the sort of coach.
We've always thrived on the underdog tag and everything like that. So I think this will be a testing year for Rich to keep the squad happy. Injuries, obviously, touch wood. Hopefully that we have a clean bit of health throughout the year. It's an exciting time to be a Fax fan. You're looking at Ben White coming over, having spent a year in Australia. He did the business against us in a Swinton shirt. Big Ben Kavanagh, as we mentioned earlier, punching holes. So I'm looking forward. I mean, we're talking about lads. We've had this mantra of promoting from the reserves. I'm looking forward to seeing a couple of those lads blossom. In particular, Curtis Davis showed in the last game of the season at London what he's got to offer. So I think he'll be putting some pressure on Benny.
Is he the hooker or the loose?
He's the hooker. Yeah.
Right.
Can you not tell them apart?
No. I was really impressed with him for Wales.
Call him Twinny. You'll get away with it. No,
you can't necessarily call him C Davis either, because of all.
No, they showed up really well, and I think that. that was echoed by the fact that they did get called up and played in international games.
Yeah, made a difference.
So
and you know with that one as well, I think it was absolutely brilliant when Benny Kay got announced that he's signed a contract extension. That he said that Curtis Davies coming along will be brilliant for both him and
absolutely. I
Brandon
mean,
Moore.
Benny, when Brandon came in and started pushing for a position, just lifted. You've said before, competition for places breeds.
Definitely. If you know that you are going to be the number one, that it can either go one or two ways. It can inspire you to think, right, I'm the number one guy and I'm going to prove why.
Yeah.
Or it can stagnate. It's like, well, I don't need to do anything. I'm there. I'm here kind of by default, really. And I don't think Ben Kay was doing anything of the like, but his performances may well have stagnated a little bit. Whereas this year, especially, he was one of my players at year. I think he was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
And two different kind of players kind of reminded me of when we had Penkovic and Bezic, where Kay would be kind of like the Bezic one, starting the game off, getting the forwards rolling on really
getting
well.
your percentages through.
Exactly, yeah. Just doing like a proper hooker's job of just bringing the forwards on. If he can spy a gap, if he's delays defence, yeah, have a scoot out and that. And
plus
then,
he celebrates big hits and
he celebrates
and
everything. He
So that's
celebrates
always good to
breathing
see.
and breathing out, does Ben Kay. And then you bring on Brandon Moore after about 25 minutes and all hell breaks loose.
Young Player of the Year, Brandon Moore.
Yes, the
travesty.
let's go the proper championship player of the year, the one that's actually contracted to a championship club.
He had a sterling season, he really did. Is there anyone in the squad that you're looking forward to seeing having a breakthrough year? I mean, you mentioned James Woodburn Hall.
Yeah, he's such a talented player that we don't know his position yet, and I thought wherever you put him, he's going to do a job. He even did a job at Widnes on the wing, really, in that game. I think he would make a brilliant halfback, whether that's a 6 or a 7. I don't know. That game at Old KR where Morel went off, because that's been one of our problems as well. If Morel gets injured, we've got no one really to replace him. He's such
we've got a wealth
presence.
of options this season.
Yeah.
I think it's going to stand us in good stead with us having the 2 cups to go at and the midweek games. It's got to be the dream, hasn't it? I mean, we're sort of cutting in and out of subjects here, and I hope you'll indulge us. There will be many podcasts in the future where we'll get a bit more in depth, and as the season gets closer, we'll start previewing how other teams are doing and what we think of the squad and what our starting 17 is going to be come round 1. We'll leave it there for now, Mike. I think thanks very much for listening. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Twitter at the Fax of Life Pod, at the Fax of Life Pod. I'll put the details at the bottom of the screen now. But thanks very much for listening. Thank you, Mike, for joining us here, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Take care.